Hello everyone and welcome back to Wargame Red Dragon. This is another ranked game, and I'm playing as the Blue Dragons Coalition. My opponent is also playing as Blue Dragons, so it's a bit of a mirror match, on Plunging Valley. So my objective is to secure Foxtrot, push through the center of the forest in Delta, and secure Delta, and send a token force to my northwest up toward Bravo, with the idea being using the OH-1 Ninja to keep an eye out for enemy helicopters, and have some specialized scouting and ATGM, or rather recoilless rifle teams headed up toward Bravo. So, if you've seen the title for this, which will be Desperate Defense, well, you know that things don't turn out quite as planned. So, a couple areas it goes pretty well, a couple areas it goes pretty poorly. We're able to secure Delta, and I have a force of infantry moving up. Their goal is to defend in these woods, choking off the main highway and preventing the rush that I now see coming. So we can see right there I do identify this because my OH-6D scout helicopter starts moving backwards pretty much immediately. And I know now he's going in, basically all in, toward the Delta region. I call out reinforcements for the west side of things, and if I'd had enough points I would have called in a bomber, because that's a very compact column. As it turns out, there's a fair amount of anti-air, double units of M727 iHawks, which probably would have shot down any bomber that I sent. Their OH-1 Ninja is able to take out my scout helicopter, and I lose optics on this region, but I don't necessarily need them too badly either. And over in Foxtrot, we are able to get the drop on him, so I have Hachikyu Shiki and Shioju Buntai, who are securing Foxtrot, as well as pushing up through these forests. And at this point I basically have decided, okay, well, if he's going to try to jam through my center in Delta, the best thing that I can do for myself is to lock down each side if I can. So the infantry fight continues on. We actually get the better of him decently well, I'd say, at the first. And you can see that in that his anti-air is actually getting pretty close, closer than it should, and there's even a K263, or sorry, K242 mortar team. So I do see these iHawks, and I'm trying to go get them as well, but there's really no convenient way to do that. We do take down a scout helicopter this way with the Hachikyu Shikis. Wonderful, wonderful pieces there. And that K263 is actually doing great work with his Vulcan cannon, ripping through my infantry and their support vehicles. So if we switch back to a central view, we can see, we're relatively secure in Foxtrot as things go. I have a toehold in Bravo, and I have sort of the suspicion that he has infantry over this way. And now we see two K1s headed through the forest, and that is a problem, because my Nanasan Shikis, my Hachikyu Shikis cannot take them out, but they might try. So we actually do have ATGMs going in, and Peace Pheasant 2 comes in to try and take one out. I don't get it, and one of the iHawks does take out my plane, which is a big problem. So that was 95 points, or 90 points I think, one of the two, down the drain, but we are able to get some good catches over on the east side of things. My JSDF Rangers find his Hudao Ren, and I'm setting up Hachikyu Shiki. Unfortunately, F1 bombers are coming in and do take out some Shioju Buntai, but I don't think he's expecting me to do this. So my Hachikyu Shiki get up close and personal and take out some of his reinforcements before they can get to their destination. Supported by the Rangers, another unit of Hachikyu Shiki. It's a pretty difficult thing for infantry to get through unsupported. Now, what I should have done here is take these two Hachikyu Shiki and head over this way to cut off his reinforcements as well, headed toward Alpha. Make him deal with me back here, and that way I can secure this position as well. Split the force and then fight, and I don't. One thing also that you may notice is that I don't have anywhere near enough anti-air. I have a Tansam short arrow, but I'm really stressed on the ground, in part because he's gotten some good trading going at the beginning, and it's a little bit uncomfortable for me to spend the points on that, particularly when, my JSDF Rangers, they're in combat. I am trying rapidly to reinforce this position, but mixed success, and I have nothing to do with those K1s. I did debate bringing out my own heavier tank, but the reason that I didn't is because, well, he has air dominance, that's pretty clear. I don't have a fighter up, and anything that I call out tank-wise could easily be handled by the same plane that I had tried to handle his K1s with. Some more high explosive bombs coming in, and we do get some damage on that F1, which means that it'll be a little while before he's called out again. It's at least some blessing there. And I do actually have a K1A1 I've brought out. It's the heaviest tank I've gotten, so I said I shouldn't have. I probably knew I shouldn't have, but I did anyway. and my bomber gets absolutely killed. Yep, there's the Peace Pheasant 2. Came in, killed the K1A1 before he really did anything, and that's 140 points down the drain, so not exactly a good move on my part. It would have been a better investment to get some anti-air up there first, in order to be able to secure that position. I do lose another plane, and now it's pretty clear I'm wasting a lot of points. That's at least 350 points in planes, 140 points in heavy tanks that weren't well supported, weren't well executed, and we're lucky to be holding on basically at this point. K1's moving forward. He actually gets a little too close to Yebagun of all things, and they do have super bazookas that they can use. Not super effective, but no slouch either. And at this point I decide, you know what, if we look at the score, I've got 213 and counting points with a +1 tick, and all I have to do is get to 500. That's what this game is about. This is not destruction mode, this is conquest, which means, well, if I can hold more zones, even if I'm losing on the ground, I technically can win. And with time counting down as it is, he'd have to not only push me out, but also reverse the tide for long enough to overcome whatever points advantage I may be able to get. So I take a risky move and I call in command infantry over to Bravo. The idea being, okay, well, we have a +1 right now. If I can turn that into a +2, he's actually going to be in some trouble. And seaplane coming out, not seeing anything, because of course I don't have anything. I just have a short arrow here, which has admittedly gotten some use against his scout helicopters and OH-1 ninjas. But we're pretty lightly defended here. If I switch over to neutral just for a second to show you, I mean, yeah, I'm getting smashed here on the ground at the moment, pretty thoroughly. So we'll switch back to just my perspective. He's starting to use his Peace Pheasant a little bit too freely, and we do take it down with the Block 52D. This is actually a seedplane that doubles as an ASF, and here's something very key. I see this M48A3 Jiwicha. This is a light command tank, 120 points, and I know what he's trying to do is he's trying to bring it into this region here and cut off my +1 and get a +1 of his own, right? Because from his perspective, I'm at +1, if he neutralizes Delta, I'm at -1, and that's what he's been trying to do basically the whole time, if not push me out completely and prevent me from getting to the rest of the map. So I see that, I send the Kiroku out to shoot at it, but I don't get the kill. And I know that this zone is going to be capped very, very soon. We are still taking out his reinforcements here pretty effectively. Suja Buntai versus Sochung Su is not the greatest of all things to have happen, but those F1s keep just smashing my infantry mercilessly. A little bit of anti-air here would have really gone a long way. Fortunately, my JSDF Rangers carry, well, really good tertiaries. Of course, he probably can spot them now with the OH-1 Ninja, or at least get close to it. And I'm setting up a short arrow to try to handle that, but I think he sees me right there. And we do take out an IHawk, so that's the Block 52D, takes out the Radar AA. He has neutralized Delta, but I've capped Bravo now, so instead of a -1, it's actually a 0-0. And my KF-16C nearly dies, getting in a little over his head there. We do almost kill an F1, but still that's not exactly what we want to be doing. Hachinano Shiki is just scouting to see how far up I can get. We encounter resistance and so retreat, kind of as expected. And now I'm just sitting here thinking to myself, okay, what are my ways out of this? We're at a 0-0, but I'm losing on the ground. He's starting to pressure me in Foxtrot more than I can handle. And if he, well, even countercaps Foxtrot, I start to lose. So that's not exactly great. I do get Nanasan Shikis really hilariously around to his home base, but they don't really do much. And now we're starting to chase a little bit, these K200s and those things, and we have a push. So I push forward Nanasan Shikis, Hachikyu Shikis, and Suja Buntai, supported by a Chumat that's trying to get up to this position in the woods, and I also call in a Peace Pheasant 1 bomber. The idea here being, take out the command tank, resecure my zone, and that's exactly what happens. So we kill it, we get this, and now we're taking out a +2 with 277 points already in the bank. I also know that there's a K1 back in these woods, right there, which if I can get my Suja Buntai up to, well, he'll have a bit of a bad day. The Hachikyu Shikis also do carry Jumat ATGMs, but they're not really going to win that duel very often. I am a little concerned on this side, so I call in some Yebagun just to sort of throw bodies at the problem. I rely on them a little too heavily, but I've had mixed success, and the K1 is just proving devastatingly effective. bit more cost effective here than the K1A1, because even if he is lost, you don't lose quite so many points. But we do finally get him with the Chumot. I'm not really sure why he advanced there. He would have seen the Chumot already shooting at him, but maybe he is getting a little bit micro-stressed as well. Easy to make mistakes in this game. F1 comes in, there goes some Sujo Buntai, block 52D, and here come the infantry reinforcements toward Foxtrot. And unfortunately my seedplane does get taken down by his seedplane in a duel, so 50-50 chance on that, and I pulled up the wrong end. So we've taken out some of his IFVs, and I also see here these Bonbu. These are command infantry because my opponent is now desperately trying to lock down some points, prevent me from getting any more of a lead than I already have, because we're 18 minutes in, it's a 40-minute time limit, so the more I get up to really good point levels, his only option is going to become pushing me out completely, which is easier said than done despite my lack of base defense. So I call in another Peace Pheasant, and I've just seen those Bonbu. So there comes the bomber, and yeah, no, he's taking some shots. He might even die, but we got the command infantry, and that's all I need at this point. So we even stunned some of his helicopters, which is kind of just hilarious, although not really that decisive. And I think at this point that he probably figures I have a decent hold in Bravo. He hasn't pushed me here at all, which is why I haven't reinforced. I don't want any more of a holding force there than is absolutely necessary, because units that aren't doing anything are wasted. Speaking of, my ninja should have been way more active this game than it was. This is just a push with K200 and Yebagon. I'm trying to distract him. I'm trying to make him think he needs more reinforcements over here than he actually does. And all of this is just basically a let me stay alive in Delta, let me wait with this +2 as long as I can. Now, here's something kind of cool. These Tokjunswa, I have no, Tokjunsa, my apologies, doing my best. They are elite special forces. They carry a Mini-Me, which is one of the best tertiaries in the game, a Carbine M727, one of the best primaries in the game, and a Carl Gustav M2, which, yeah, I guess that's mid-tier. There's better, and there's more specialized. But all I have 2 units of Sujo Buntai, and I call in some scout infantry and a scout helicopter to try and make sure that he can't get around me with those elite special forces. That isn't really what he has planned. I do pull in a K1 as well. We're finally able to get something back there and take a shot at the F1, but it does miss. That's out of the short arrow, so not really that piece's specialty. A Hawk would have done me much better here in the back line. Ninja's back to rearm, and here come the special forces. So they're just cutting through my Sujo Buntai. I'd never seen something like that, and because he's tying them down in the same spot, I can't get supporting fire with the Hachikyushiki that he just killed anyway. My OH-6D does fire a couple rocket pods, but this is looking very not good. So he knows I have command vehicle or infantry somewhere in here, and that's all these guys are going for. They don't care about my infantry, that's not what their purpose is. Their purpose is to hunt and kill my command vehicle, just to slow down this bleed. And he actually does manage to do it, so I start to move the Jiwicha. I lose my bomber on the way to kill the special forces, and I think he does get the Jiwicha, yep, with the Carl Gustav M2, which was really disappointing. There's also another Jiwicha coming into Cat Delta, and I think he does get it in there. It's just, this game was a little while ago, so I do apologize. But I still can't kill these special forces. I brought in some of my own to fight them, and we're finally getting some good work done there. They won't exactly escape. Well, actually they might escape. Yeah, they do escape. That's just disappointing. F1's coming in. I think they were aimed at my special forces, but they lost vision, which would explain that. And he has a +1, 17 minutes left, and he's finally started to put some points of his own on the board. Also, there's Sochung-Su infantry finally getting through my defenses, and I'm getting even more planes shot down. But the bomber does get through, as the British are wanted to say, and we're back at a +1. My K1 are just wrecking these Sochung-Su infantry that are trying to infiltrate my back line, and there's even more special forces beyond it as well. But it's about to go the same for them, and that is good game. So if you look at kills and losses, I killed 1710, lost 2020. Actually, that kind of means that by the end of it, I was fighting pretty well on the ground, because I lost something like 550 points in airplanes that match, which was very much not what you want to do at all. If you take a look at standout units, the Hachikyushikis tend to perform well. Mixed bag this time. They've never really seen dedicated ATGM plane opposition before. Rangers did okay. It's a lot of infantry kills here, even if they are all cheaper than the Rangers. That's the one that was up in the northeast. Sujabuntai do okay. Hachimanashiki does okay. Peace Pheasant. 2 command vehicles. This Peace Pheasant 1 is the reason that I didn't lose the game. Oh man. Single unit, single plays sometimes are very impactful like that. Well, that's all we've got for today. Thank you all for hanging around. We'll see you again real soon.